Okay, thanks for joining everyone. So Luke will be joining us real soon here. He's actually just on an interview, which is really exciting. So maybe we'll do this a little bit backwards. I can go ahead and talk about some community updates first. Um, so yeah, we are Pixels.online. We are a metaverse farming game. We're focusing a lot on gameplay and sorry, Tyler just walked past me and it completely distracted me. But yeah, so really excited to have this AMA today, and I'll just get started with the community updates. So merch is in the works. We will definitely have some more things to speak to on that coming soon. But the developers have been working really hard on this back end rewrite, and it is going to take a little bit longer than we anticipated. So the merch might be delayed a week or two more than we thought, but stay tuned for that. You will be able to purchase a t-shirt. If you haven't figured that out yet, it is going to be a t-shirt using your in-game coins, and then we will ship it to you. So very, very excited for that. On the community side in our Discord, we mentioned this last week, we are creating a bot that's going to pull in your levels from the game itself, and will be updated so like next to your name, you'll have a little number telling you which level you're at in game. So that will come out in a few weeks. Very excited for that as well. And I know some of our we put them on a few of our community members already as just like a little example of, we've since taken them down, but people were really excited about that. So I am so excited. We also hopped on the Glizzy Gang Collections AMA about an hour ago. It's very chill. It was very, very relaxed, very fun. And then we will be on the Grills Gang AMA on Sunday. And so stay tuned for that. And then my last little update here would be that we are launching some more in-game, not in-game, on the Discord. We're going to do some fun, low-key games coming up. So stay tuned for that. They will be run by our community team leads, so some of our moderators. And we'd love to hear any feedback on that, or if you want to see any specific games on our Discord itself, please let us know. And the rewards will be fun little tiny in-game things. So get ready for that. That's basically my community update. And we see Luke has made it here, so he can go off on the project, and then he can speak to also the game development side and all of that. Hello, Luke.
Hey, thanks so much, guys. Thank you for stalling, Heidi.
No problem. Just did it a little differently this time.
No, awesome. Yeah, so why don't you fill me in? So you just gave everybody like a bit of the updates.
Well, you missed my lo-fi music I was playing, so that's too bad. I got good feedback on that, so we'll try to keep that up. And then, yeah, I just basically filled everyone in on the community updates. What did I say? Merch, the bot that we're going to put in Discord to have levels come in. We were on the Glizzy Gang AMA. We're going to be on the Grills Gang AMA. And yeah, some Discord games coming up.
Amazing. Okay, sweet. Yeah, I guess anything else you want to bring up, or should I?
Not really. I mean, we've got the integrations. I guess I can speak to that quickly. Glizzy Gang Glizzy Gang Go Live is tomorrow. Grills Gang on Sunday, and then we've got several more collections coming. So stay tuned. Oh, actually, the Grills Gang community, they just created a really cool promo video that I retweeted. So go check that out.
Yeah, they are like really sick. So that's a cool thing too. So we redid the way technically that we're doing integrations. That was a bit slower to get them in than I wanted to, but now it seems like it's a much easier process. When we did these NFT integrations, I wrote that system myself in the code, and we were the first people to do it. And it was kind of experimental on how we would actually get these in. So yeah, we had somebody clean up the code base. It should be much easier to get them in, and we should be able to move faster on that now too. So shout out to Alec on our team who did that. He refactored that code. So yeah, the Grills Gang stuff looked really sick. I was pretty excited when I saw that in that promo video. So hype. But then yeah, in terms of other updates, so sorry I was late, guys. I was actually just on an interview. We're pretty much done building the team. there's just a few more offers we're making out, but it sounds like basically some of the last offers we're making are this week, and then we have a full team that we need. I can stop recruiting because that's been taking so much of my time, but it's been extremely valuable. A lot of hard work to recruit good talent, and the people who have built teams this quickly, I really want to. I've seen other projects. They're like, oh, we hired like 30 devs. I just don't know how you did that. I mean, good for you if you hired 30 quality devs, but I can tell you after doing hundreds of interviews, it's not that easy of a process. And to get a really, really good team, which maybe the rest of the team can speak on that too eventually, it's a lot of work. That's just the hard work that you have to do to like make this stuff happen. But again, this space is so tough to be building in. There's so many challenges with this space where if you don't have an absolute A team to be building here, you're not going to succeed, in my opinion. So we've been putting in the hard work, almost all done, and now we're about to get to some of the fun stuff too. So I guess in terms of like high level, what's going on internally in Pixels is we've made like a ton of good progress on the game design side of things. We're nearly done rewriting like a large section of our code base too, just to be a lot more efficient and to like kind of future-proof us for scaling out even further. And development side is about to split up from like rewriting into actually implementing all these game features our designers have been coming up with. And then we're also going to split into blockchain development too. So that's like basically starting to get underway. My attention has been focused on that too. I've been in contact with our lawyers. We just signed like our final letter of engagement with our crypto lawyer today as well too. So we're getting like moving on the legal side of things too, which is funny because I don't think a lot of these projects in this space are doing much diligence on the legal side of things. But that's not easy to actually do that properly. We're doing all the diligence around that, making sure that when we're getting this token drop ready, we're just dialed in on every single level in terms of economics, in terms of legal, in terms of game design, in terms of like actual product that we're shipping out. This token drop is extremely important for us to make sure that we get this right. This is like the thing that we're pushing towards. This is like what you guys should be like thinking about, what you're here for. Like think about this token drop that we're doing. This is like the North Star that we're shooting for the next like 3 to 4 months, making sure this is executed as like best as we can. Not just on the product side, also on the growth side, also on the marketing side. Like that's what all of us are working towards. And we're just starting to make all these moves now. Now we've gotten everything settled. So super, super excited with that. So yeah, in terms of game design, making a ton of progress on that. Again, it's like tough stuff to get right. We wanted to rush through the game design, and then we realized, wait, this is actually the worst part of the process to rush through. Making sure that we actually have like a good, fun game. From a theoretical side of things, even that's not easy, and you can't just whip that up in a day or two or a week or two. So we've been putting in a ton of work to make sure that the game that we're building is the right one, that's going to be fun, that's going to be cohesive, that's going to be intuitive, and that it's going to be like a great experience for everybody. And then we're putting all of the pieces together to make sure that we can actually implement that as well too. So for example, like we've been hiring very, very technical engineers who have like very full stack experience, because to build in Web3, you need to be very full stack. Even if you know Solidity, like you really can't get by unless you know the full stack of like the tech as well too. So we've been hiring engineers on that side. That was like honestly easier for us to recruit because we come from Silicon Valley. We come from like that kind of world where we know how to recruit good engineers on that side, and they're in our networks. Now what we've been doing also is finalizing offers to people who come from the gaming side of things, who are really great at putting on like the final loving touches to a game, who make movements snappier, who add particle effects, all that like polish that most games need. That's what we've been filling out those gaps for as well. So all the pieces are coming together. Super excited for me to shift my focus over to tokenomics, to economics, to legal, getting all that set up. The game design team is in really good hands. We're super lucky to have the game designers that we do right now, like both extremely experienced in the game design side of things. And yeah, I would say overall, like we're pretty on track for what we're up to. We're about to go over roadmap again. Sorry, that keeps getting pushed back a bit as we're figuring out stuff more. We're like honing in scope, where like pretty soon we're gonna have like a much more clear like articulate timeline when we expect things to ship, but it's still looking about the same dates that we were saying before. There's a chance that things shift back like 3 to 4 weeks, maybe like potentially up to a month from what we had originally said. Like maybe the game might ship. Like I think we're hoping for an alpha version of the game to ship around June to like end of July or end of June. That's gonna be like a pretty immense push to get that done. I think the rewrite currently for a lot of our code base is scheduled to finish not next week, but the week after. We're trying to see if we can cut back that scope a bit, or like see if we can adjust things a bit to start building out these new mechanics that we designed. But then that gives us like about like 2 months to actually build out these new mechanics that close the core loop. We have all the teams set to get already too, so it shouldn't be too much of a like uphill battle to actually execute once those are ready. So super excited on that. We'll keep you guys in the loop with like what the timeline is looking like. And again, as we're thinking about token design and drafting up these tokenomics, the initial airdrop is really important. The idea is we want to reward people who care about what we're building, who are in this ecosystem and who are playing the game. And like the initial seeding of this token will be devised through that. So a combination of length of hold and play time or like progress that you put into the game will be taken into account for the airdrop. So it's funny because we don't have staking in the game right now, or we don't have like official staking, but it's almost going to be like a like faux stake in a way, or like a pseudo staking right now. So if you've been holding, that will be taken into consideration. We'll be basically like going through all the transactions, calculating like who gets what token based on a combination of playtime and ownership, because you guys have been providing us a ton of value. The fact that we have 1.5 thousand or like anywhere from like 1,200 to 1,500 daily active users right now, with the current state of the game, which is not where we want it to be, if we're being completely honest, is awesome. You guys have been providing like a ton of like really, really good feedback. You guys have been building us an awesome community. So we need to make sure that you guys are rewarded for that and that you guys feel like your time is worth it. Yeah, it looks like, oh yeah, here I'm pulling up some DAU stats right now if you guys are curious. So looks like on Wednesday we had 1.4 thousand daily active users. Looks like today we hit 1.2 thousand. So for where we're at, not having a blockchain backed game, being really early in development, and honestly not even having like a complete game loop, that's amazing. Again, I say these numbers all the time just to give you guys perspective on the rest of the space, but Decentraland has 10,000 daily active users. Krabata has 6,000. They're making lots of money. They're monetizing very, very well off that user base. And the fact that we're there, mostly on gameplay right now, and not even completed gameplay, is a really, really good sign for when we drop this token. And yeah, we're super excited about that. So let me see if I had any other updates. I think that's like mostly what we were thinking, or what I've been thinking, what's been going through my own head as we're building a company. Super, super excited to start shifting focus towards all the blockchain integration now. Did you go through the game updates, Heidi, or like what we've been working on?
I have not.
Okay, sweet.
No.
So then, yeah, I can speak on what devs have been working on. So we're wrapping up cooking now. I think our developer Chen is supposed to finish that this week, and then we're going to test it. It should be getting out pretty soon. So yeah, finally that feature is about to get out. We're really excited to get that to you. And then basically all the focus on the dev side will be working on finishing out this like rewrite of our code base, the one that's like a lot more optimized, the one that's going to scale even better than the one before, and the one that should iron out a lot of the bugs in terms of like room switching, in terms of stuff like that. And it'll also unlock a couple of other features that we had like turned off for a little bit, like spatial video chat and live streaming. Like those will be back after the rewrite. Again, that's scheduled dev-wise to finish in 2 weeks from now, it looks like. So excited on that. Oh, we have a store update coming out too. I don't know when that's coming out exactly. Tyler might actually know better than me on what the store updates like. And maybe it could be helpful to have Tyler come on and speak a bit today too if he's
It,
listening or free. I'm not sure.
yeah, he did mention to me probably the end of this sprint, which has been pushed a little bit, but basically there's going to be a bit of a store UI update, and then of course the first version 1 of cooking, and eventually that will grow. The cooking feature will become like a full crafting system. This is going to kind of be like the soft launch, like V1 of cooking, but it should come at the end of this sprint, which I believe ends. They've pushed it a little bit, maybe in a week or week and a half. I'm not sure exactly the date.
Yeah, we're revamping some of our processes to make sure that like QA is a bit more fleshed out. We're looking to hire external QA testers too. We're also probably going to tap into the community a bit more for quality assurance as well. So I know we have that early access channel. We're probably going to start utilizing that a bit more than we did before, especially as we're redesigning more and more features. So we'll probably give some of you access to things like spatial video chat, to room customization like that as well too, a bit early, and also features like cooking and stuff as well a bit early too. So excited on that. And then yeah, Tyler just yeah, if Tyler could hop on, that'd be awesome. But if not, I would love to have.
He's just where we work. He's just trying to find a space. I told him he can come in my little
Okay,
phone booth
sweet.
if
Oh
necessary,
yeah,
but we will see.
that sounds a little
One
crowded.
other, so I actually wanted to speak a little bit more about, I briefly mentioned it, that we're going to be doing some more like engaging activities in the Discord. So we've got our community leads on that. They are planning to run Gartic on Thursday and hide and seek on Sunday. It will be 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, and 9 p.m. Is it GMC, the UK time, whatever that is. So, yeah, very excited about that. And if you want to be notified when we have these games running, if you head to our Discord, we've created a new section called Fun and Games, and you just go into gamer sign up, and then you react to the bot at the top of it, and you'll be notified when we run games. So I would suggest doing that because it's really handy to be notified, obviously. So yeah, and you can see all the other games that we're potentially going to be running. Okay, Tyler is here. He must have found a spot. Hey, do you want to speak to the cooking feature design side of things for a sec?
I'm here. I made it. So yeah, I found a phone booth. Sorry for distracting you before, Heidi.
No problem.
They have limits. They have limits on the phone booth, so they kicked people out. And now I'm here, but yeah, I'm around to speak.
Wait, you got kicked out of the phone booth at a WeWork?
Yeah, so sometimes
Dude, I
they
normally.
come in.
Oh, whoa. I normally
Yeah.
stay like 8 hours a day because I'm on calls 8 hours a day in phone booths. I've never
Yeah.
gotten
One
kicked out.
one day we're gonna do these AMAs. I think I gotta live stream it because we have nothing to hide here. As you know, we're working on our branding right now. We're very open, honest project, which is, like I say often, it was what sold me on this project. So let me open up my pages here, and I'm going to explain what we've been kind of working on the game design side. In understanding like what's going on with Web3 and other projects is like there's always this rush to just get things out, and it doesn't matter on the quality, and it just go as fast as you can and move. There is a sense of doing things right at Pixels right now, of like Luke was saying, getting the proper legal things set up, not just flying to release and appease everybody quickly in the short term. So long-term game design, you can't just release a game in piece by piece by piece by piece. There's full game systems. If I'm sure all of you have played all sorts of other games, there is a lot of interconnectivities to a whole bunch of different things. And we brought on another game designer with much more experience than all of us on game systems. And there's been a little bit of like an onboarding process for people. So when you hear we've onboarded this person or that person, understand from like a company business perspective, it's not like you just join, come on, understand the project, and start making that influence, like that impact right away. So that's why there is this like get excited and definitely have that excitement by all these new people that are coming. But that's maybe why it's taking us a little bit of time. But that's where I say, and like when I said before, where there's like that calm before we really start to move at a really good pace, is bringing this team together. So a lot of what's been happening is like we have all these new people, these new faces, extremely talented. Luke's done an incredible job at recruiting and bringing in great people, making sure that we all can work collaboratively so that a game narrative designer works well with a pixel artist, who works well with the systems, who works well with the engineers. It's not, if it was this easy, all projects would be able to do it, right? So we really think we have the team that can do it. So from a systems perspective, it's been articulating what are the systems that we're going to be releasing in this alpha and scoping it down so that it's not, if we had 100 different systems and we built every single feature, we'd release a lot of half-baked, not great features. So it's been a lot around scope. And part of that was defining a genre for the game, deciding on our target audience for the game, which all these things can be flexible and move, but coming up with those pillars, which also will further be developed in as we do this branding project, has been driving a lot of our decision making. And sometimes we are going a little bit crazy into one feature, like cooking. If we go a little bit too crazy and go all out at cooking, it's at the expense of something else. So the cooking feature that you're going to see is we're bringing cooking. It is a V1, and it's going to be V1 as part of a crafting system, right? So in other games you see where you can combine things to create something, cooking, and that's where that system starts to become something bigger as part of a bigger ecosystem, which in the short term, you might not get it all right away, but think about what this game can become because we're doing it the right way. So there's that. There's other sorts of resource collection systems with the sound designer that's coming in. We know that sound can make a huge impact in the game. So working to make sure we have the right systems in place to start integrating sound across the entire gameplay is going to make for a way better game than it is currently. So that's coming. And a whole bunch of different things like tutorial systems that are going to be baked in and pulling inspiration from the best games out there. So we're moving on all this stuff. And once we get this high level system design set for this alpha, we'll be able to work backwards and provide a date that we expect and we know we're going to hit for our release, and we'll provide that date with you. And then we'll start to build those things out and design them and keep you involved in the loop. So I know I've gone on a little rant here. I want to speak towards game design because it's tough. It's tough. And we're kind of in this place right now where we're bringing all the pieces together, and then we're going to start to roll them out with you guys and also get your feedback. Should be totally baked into the process as we develop here. So part of this rewrite is making sure we have the right environments where we can bring on testers and you can all come on. You're so involved in the community to come on and help us test these features before we release them. And that's where we value all of you, and things are only going to get better from here. So thank you.
Yeah, and part of the reason
Thank you, Tyler. That was awesome.
Thanks, Tyler. Yeah, number one, so bullish on Tyler. I don't know if you guys hear him speak, like he's like the biggest piece of glue in this company. And he's just been extremely valuable to everything that we do. Without Tyler, this project would not be moving forward like it is right now. So yeah, shout out to Tyler. Nobody else coach him. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so the things that we're doing on this game design, the things that we're doing in game design, and system design, this is actually our token design too, where it's funny because we used to complicate tokenomics like a lot. And you'll still see games doing like really, really weird stuff with their token. And this was something I was stressing really early on when we were building Pixels 2, like pitching it before we even dropped the NFT, of like building out demand through fun, and building out like sustainable economics through getting players like actually interested in the game for fun, and through like gameplay reasons. So all this work that we're putting into like systems design, game design, and really getting this right, this is actually also our token design, where it just makes the token design 100 times easier if you have a game that's already balanced and well thought out and designed well, where there's not too much stuff that you have to do. There's other incentives that a token brings that you need to think about when you're thinking about tokenomics, because there obviously are different incentives in tokenomics than traditional gaming. Like, for example, the ability to exit a position in a game economy is a lot different than current game economy. So your economy is not completely closed like a traditional MMO. So there's like different things you have to think about with that. But again, like your economy will look more and more closed, or it'll be like it'll have like net imports into the economy or net activity into the economy if your game is good. So that's something that you have to think about less. Yeah, and that's like another interesting thing we've been stressing about, or stressing a lot, when we like pitch play to earn to people now too, like why play to earn is so cool. It's like one of the points where I don't think it's been touched on as much, but it's actually probably the biggest benefit of play to earn, where that ability to exit an ecosystem and play to earn. Basically, if like you're sick of a game, and like they made a game-changing update that you hate and you don't want to be a part of that ecosystem anymore, play to earn gives you the opportunity to like exit the progress that you put into a game and put it into another game. Or for example, if you just get bored of it, like if you have an ultimate team, you bag Ronaldo, he's like he's your best player on your FIFA ultimate team. If you get bored of FIFA after like a year, you can actually exit FIFA and then maybe put your time and energy into like a different game too, in like the ideal play to earn ecosystem, where that's like a crazy awesome benefit. Also like interesting tokenomic stuff with that too. But basically the fact that like it keeps games more accountable, that games can't cheat or like keep you locked in just because you put in time and energy. They have to actually stay interesting for a long time. They have to find new ways to engage players for a lifetime rather than just for a year-long release. And that's how we think about it too. And that's like what we're trying to build and design. Sweet. So yeah,
Hop
with
on
that
the
tangent,
questions now. Sorry, did I cut you off?
No, what was that?
I was just gonna say, are we ready to hop into questions?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we only have a couple on Discord right now. So feel free to throw them in our general chat. If you have any, please tag the community team and we will get to them. We've got Blue's Clue requested to come up. So I'll bring you up right now. TIFF representative. TIFF weekly representative.
What's up? How you guys doing?
Hey. Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I gotta load up my Discord here to look at the questions real quick. My bad.
No problem.
I was in the middle of a raid on Destiny. Alrighty, we got like 2 questions, not many. Alright, the first one is how does Pixel plan to turn a profit on, and what's your goals to achieve this?
Yeah, great question. So, I don't think I've given this talk to the Pixels AMAs, which is interesting because I'd probably say this 10 times a day. But basically, games make money in 4 different ways right now, without like the Web3 model. So games typically make money through one-time payments, like you buy a game like Skyrim and you get it and you own it, or subscriptions, like you pay subscriptions to an MMO, or microtransactions, or advertisements. That's typically how games capture value in this ecosystem that they create. Tokens add a new way to monetize games, and that's kind of that's obviously our plan to monetize too. How it works is like it's a mix of a model that's like somewhat reminiscent of microtransactions, but not quite, and then somewhat new as well too, like more reminiscent of banking in a way, where like early on as the like largest holder of the token, the Pixels game, and as the ones who actually like introduced it into the economy, you kind of get to act like a central bank. So there's interesting things you do with one, like we add liquidity pools ourselves, where like to give you an example, early on, when the game is blockchain backed, you'll be farming pop berries, you'll be farming scarrots, and then you'll actually be able to trade them with us for an in-game coin. So we are going to be the ones who actually like introduce the in-game coin into the economy. But later on, that doesn't just have to be us. We're probably just going to be the only ones like day one who will actually trade you these NFTs for these coins. Will be like the largest source of liquidity for that, and you'll probably have to come to us like for the first like month or so as we build out this ecosystem. So we get to slowly introduce a currency into the economy that way, and obviously we're one of the holders of the currency too. So the shared belief that this currency has value because people are using it for an in-game asset. The market kind of gets to decide where that lands at. It's going to be one of the assets that we hold. We also get to slowly drip it into the economy too, making sure that like balancing out with inflation, balancing it out with all of that too. Where that's kind of how we get to make our money, similar to how Ethereum devs make money. and like somewhat similar to a microtransaction model too. It's really interesting, like slightly complicated, but like to me so fascinating. And then the reason why this is cool and the reason why this is better is right now in games, I've said this like Blair before maybe, but like 95% of a game's profit is typically made off of like 3 to 5% of its users, the whales. Right now, though, like those, oh, so sorry, 95% of a game's profit is typically made off of like 3 to 5% of a game's users, the whales. But those whales would never play the game without that other 95% of the users. Like those other 95% of the users are providing like a very big value to the ecosystem. They create like a network effect for the game, and the game profits off of that right now. Like a game like World of Warcraft, they need these or not World of Warcraft, there's subscriptions, but like other games, like they need these other users like Fortnite to actually provide value to this ecosystem. However, those players, that 95% of the player base, don't capture any of that value that they're creating. So they create this value for the ecosystem. They capture none of it. The token model actually lets us distribute value to people who create value for the ecosystem in a more fair way. So instead of just the company capturing all that revenue coming in from these players, or all that value, sorry, coming in from the players, the value that's actually created in the system through us who are actually creating the game, like we create value obviously by making a good game experience, but then also the players create value just by being there, just by playing the game, by building out awesome farms, like that creates value for the ecosystem too. We get to like actually distribute the tokens in a way that rewards that as well too. So it's like a more fair, equitable system to monetize that actually, and it's just super cool, really fascinating, and that's why we're so bullish on it, and that's why we really, really like Web3.
Alrighty, and then the last question I have is, what sprint do you think the guild feature will come out in?
Yeah, I think we need a roadmap that's still. So that's kind of what me and Tyler are meeting on this week. Of like, okay, we have all these features that we need to get into the game. What's the priority for these features? What order are we going to be building them out in? What are the other things that we need to do to get this token drop ready? We realized we needed to get like a bit more like decisive ideas around like what actually needs to make this alpha version of the game before we could build this roadmap. So that was kind of blocking me personally from getting like that more clearly defined roadmap out. So I would say like let's circle back to that next week. I think we'll have a more clear answer on when that would come out. That is a feature I'm definitely really pushing for. I want to be part of the alpha release. Like I think this week is the week of like finalizing scope, making sure that we know exactly what's going to go into the game, and like having clear timelines around that. So we'll keep you updated on that and like what that actually looks like, what that means, and what it's actually going to translate like into features, what the game is going to look like. I think after this week, we're going to be able to describe you guys like exactly, hopefully, like with more clarity of like what all of this is going to be looking like, what's going to make it, what's not going to make it.
Alrighty, well, thanks for answering the questions as always, and I think you guys know what's coming next. TIF. Out.
I love it. Okay. All right. So we've got some other questions on Discord that I will read. Sorry, I'm removing from speaker, not removing him from the AMA like I did last time. I'm so sorry, Bard. Anyways, okay. First question. Can you give us any insight to what function of different berries and stuff will do? You've mentioned some things only growing in certain spaces. Hypothetically, maybe we'd want to be farming certain crops differently before changes are made based on what kinds of lands we personally own. Guess you could consider this a small perk for being early.
Wait, can you repeat that?
Basically asking about insight into the different functions of different berries. You know how we've mentioned maybe certain spaces will have different berries, so they're suggesting that maybe we should let them know what berries will be on what farms, so that they can farm that now depending on what they own.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure. Has game design made decisions around that yet? I don't think so.
No.
I think so. we're getting through the high level systems design right now. We're kind of going to drill down those details afterwards. I'm like, okay, what's that actually look like? I think what we can say is yes. Like we're probably going to be adding different crops that like grow in different environments reflected in your NFT. And we want to like obviously add more like clear utility towards each of these NFT traits too. So we want that to reflect in the NFT traits as well. I think the game design team is still like figuring out exactly what those details are going to look like, but the bigger thing is making sure we have these high level systems in place, and then those details are easier to balance afterwards.
Okay. Question: how is spatial chat different from normal video chat?
Oh yeah, I think Hans just
He
posted
did, but I thought maybe you should bring it up as well, just because it is an interesting feature.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. We were actually like the first people, or I was the first person to like develop it and release it to the public. So this tech that we were building on, I guess we're rewriting a lot of it now. It was like almost 2 years old. But my story is like I had basically built out the first application of what is now known as spatial video chat back in like April to May of 2020. It was released under a product called Mesh, if you want to look it up. Hans posted a video on YouTube, but basically it was like, it's pretty novel at the time. It was really good for online events. It was basically a better way to throw online events, do social mixers, happy hours, etc. During the COVID era, where basically what it was like is, sorry, I'm quitting coffee today, guys, and I'm just like I'm really struggling with no coffee, but we're making it through.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, been an internal struggle. But yeah, basically,
That's
spatial
so
video
funny.
chat is this tech where if you walk up to somebody in this game environment, it starts a video chat with somebody, and if you walk too far away from them, it'll actually end the video chat or start a video chat with somebody else. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like a much better way to throw an online event. Basically, you have to be close to people in the game to actually talk to them. And if you walk too far away, it starts video chats with like other people in the group. So it's pretty fun. It can be video on or video off, so it can be audio only if you want. Some people, it's funny because the first version of Pixels, if you guys ever went into it, it actually requested your camera to be on, and then we found out that people actually hated that, and we turned it off for that reason. And then we made some tech changes to like that broke it as well. But yeah, that was actually in the first version of Pixels. If you played it for like the first day or two, back in December. Yeah, no longer in, but it's coming back. So it's gonna be something that you can add optionally on your land if you want to turn it on.
Cool. Okay. Will there be a hard marketing push after token is released?
Before the token's released, yeah, obviously. So we have these partners. We raised VC. That's the whole idea. So again, controlled growth has been the approach, because we want to make a game that actually retains users. So the most successful token drop that we can have, that's going to have like long-term and sustainable effects, will be to make sure that like when we drop the token, people are using it because they want to play the game. We think that's the best way to go about it, and that's like the goal that we're hitting for first. So we have that, and we're like pretty sure that we can retain users in this gaming ecosystem when they actually get exposed to it. Then we're totally ready to grow. We're totally ready to market, and we have a lot of levers that we can pull then to. Like, I need to remind you again who our investors are: Animoca Brands, OpenSea, PKO Investments. They have financial stake in this. They want to see us do well too, and we're going to use them to do that. So we have a lot of partners in terms of that. Also, all of these NFT collections that we've integrated, I talked to their founders a lot. We're like pretty well connected in this space in terms of that. So there's a lot that we can do in terms of marketing. We're super excited to do that. And it's not that we can't, it's just that we haven't right now. Again, all these followers that we have in these accounts and these Discords, they're all actually real people, organic, never bought a follower, never bought an account, never paid for engagement like that. So we have a really, really awesome base for when we want to grow too. We're in a good spot for that.
Okay, this is a fun one. What are Luke and Heidi's favorite video games to play? You can go first.
Yeah, because yours is embarrassing.
No,
okay. I'm just kidding. I honestly got obsessed with Stardew Valley. So I think if I was looking to like the most time I put into a game, I think it might be like Minecraft SMP servers. At one point, I got really into that for a while. I don't know, just the aspect of like the fact that your base could get raided at any point or destroyed at any point, and like having to hide it and stuff like that. I really really liked that. Recently, I literally have been playing so much Stardew Valley. I just hopped on Terraria for a bit too lately. I really like those games of like the adventuring, like a bit of combat, but like not very combat heavy. Like I'm really, really bad at shooters. I'm really bad at things like that. So that's not typically my gaming style. Um, but yeah, Stardew Valley is probably my most played game over the last like 6 months.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I've never been into shooters and all of that. Actually, fun fact, I've never personally owned a gaming console. So I've always been more on the like phone games and computer game side. I grew up playing, someone said Neopets. You are absolutely right, because you probably noticed I tweet out Neopets things occasionally. I loved like Club Penguin. I love the like wholesome, fun, welcoming, slightly childish games. Um, when Luke said it's embarrassing, he's probably referring to my extreme addiction to Candy Crush that I've had since I got an iPhone in 2013. I'm on level like 3000 and something. So yeah, I still play that. Like I'll be watching Netflix, just playing some Candy Crush. I've always been really into puzzle games. I play a lot of like Spider Solitaire on my phone. So yeah, I'm more on like the puzzle side of things, and I mean real puzzles too. I did a real puzzle like 2 weeks ago. I was pretty proud of myself on that one. I did it really quickly. So but yeah, I'd say those are kind of the games that I like to play.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
just messing. Candy Crush isn't embarrassing. Sorry if I offended any Candy Crush
It
people.
is not embarrassing at all. It shows that it works. The fact that it's been almost 10 years. Anyways, okay, back to the questions. Sprint got delayed a lot. Each week there's delay. Wasn't it supposed to be today for the cooking? Is it delayed again, and for when?
Yeah, maybe Tyler can give some visibility on like the sprint stuff. Tyler's been moving that along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So one thing we are working to solve also is the roadmap needs to be set, aligned, but we've also come together as a team recently. So there was a decision made to continue further rewriting the code. So creating a solid structure. So instead of rushing through setting the right foundation for the code base to advance and move quicker through cooking, we made the decision to lay the proper foundation, which gave us a little bit of a delay on cooking because Chen had been pulled in different directions. So these are the type of things that we need to, we really do need to sort them out internally so we can be super transparent and open with you. So it's like sometimes you know us and you can tell by the team, we always want to be as transparent as possible. But there are some times where we are in a state of trying to solve stuff. So with this one, yeah, our sprint system has been a little bit adjusted. So it was going Wednesday to Tuesdays before, giving 2 weeks in between. And there was like an issue with kind of sprints and stuff rolling over each other. So as a decision, we'd switched it to now go Monday to Friday and keep things pretty simple. And team building wise, it gives people a proper weekend, and it just kind of sets things better. And that's one thing with, like, I can speak to myself, is like we might go with something, and if it's not working, we're going to fix it and change it. So the sprint system that we had before was a little challenging, but now it's going to be a little bit better. So we pushed it a little bit back. So the end of this sprint is going to be next Friday. And with sprints, what I need to just make sure everyone understands is that when we're working on something in a sprint, it doesn't necessarily mean that at the end of the sprint, it's guaranteed to be released. So the most important thing is building a fun, quality game that everyone likes to play. And if we're rushing through features to just ship them and release them, you're going to see a lot of bugs. I mean, I found a bug on like Facebook, right? And they have how many people working for them, and they're going through the crazy amount of testing. So we have to make sure we have the right processes and we move at a speed that allows for the gameplay to be great. And that comes back to the environments that we're building in the rewrite, in that in rewriting the code right now, there has been a heavy focus on creating a really good playground for us to work and test features, which is going to improve the quality of the platform. So with all that, look for next week at some point. We're going to have a clear picture on the exact release date of Cooking and the store based on our testing. So I've been testing the store, which looks incredible. Chen did a great job at revamping it, and it's a store that's scalable. So when you look at it, you might see some elements of actual e-commerce stores and like how they sort their products and categories, because we're bringing a lot of products that are going to have utility and going to have a lot of products that you can buy with the coins that you're earning. So that was a foundational move, just game design wise, to unlock us down the line. So it's not, sometimes you might not be able to see the exact benefit short term, but we're building the foundation. It's like when you're building like a massive skyscraper and you have to build out and like actually design the blueprint before going and building it, because if you build the blueprint, if you have the wrong blueprint, the skyscraper will fall later. And this is a game, I know our intention is to build a game that can get into the hundreds of thousands, millions of users. And the best way to do that is to do it right. So I know I went a little bit off topic on sprints, but I hope that in hearing me speak, we're doing things the right way. And that does require a little bit of patience. But once we get through this, I promise you, we're going to get transparency around the roadmap. And when we give targets, our intention and every single goal that we're going to try to set, we're going to actually release on those days. So that's what we're working on.
That is the key idea. Like, we are trying to like make sure the tech that we have will scale to like, Axie level scale. And like we want to make sure that we're set up for that. Like, not just like 10,000 daily active users. We want to make sure that we're building, we can like handle 1 million daily active users. If we got that kind of traction, if we got that kind of stuff without having to rewrite, without having to adjust, we want to be ready for that. So that's also kind of the approach too, when we're building out tech. And that's kind of why we're rewriting too, making sure we have good systems in place, making sure that we're really ready to scale and grow when we're ready, making sure we don't rush into that.
Okay. And then I think this is a good question to answer next. Can we define great gameplay? We keep saying that, so let's define it.
Yeah, definitely. So like, I think the actual like, energy and like vibe of the gameplay needs to be important. So stuff like animations, polish, just like overall like enjoyability and like pleasure that you get when you play the game is really important. Just making like every little interaction that you do as pleasant as possible is kind of what we're thinking about. Where right now we have some like animations when you click farming and stuff like that, which are a big upgrade from what it was before when you just clicked it and it changed. We want to like really add polish on the stuff like that too. There's this concept in game development, juice. I'm obsessed with it now, and I keep saying it. But we want to add like, we want to make the game juicy in as many places as we can, where it's like, you click things, you hear like a really nice sound, like just it should feel satisfying to do every single action that you do. So there's like this micro level of good gameplay that we're thinking about of like, okay, how can we make like every single interaction that you do as pleasant and like fun as possible, and just give you like a bit more joy in each interaction. And there's also the macro level of like, okay, how can we make sure the goals that you're working towards seem fun, seem enjoyable, and not like a grind. And that's the other thing that we're thinking about too. So we think, honestly, my opinion is that the micro level matters as much as the macro level. So the macro level is important for economics, making sure you have all of that down. Then the micro level, making sure that like, this is kind of my life philosophy too, like making sure you're enjoying what you do in the moment as well. Where just like farming carrots or harvesting crops can be like a bit more fun too, let alone all the other things that we're thinking about adding as well. That's kind of priority. So things like animation, things like particle effects, things like screen shape, juice, sound design. That's kind of what we're thinking in terms of the micro level. The macro level is making sure we have great systems in place to like really make you feel like the stuff that you're doing is worth it.
Okay, let me pop back over the questions here. What's the general vision for your player onboarding mechanism tutorial? Are there any specific games that you are taking inspiration from, and thoughts on text dumps versus visual learning?
Yeah, Tyler can take that because he's kind of been leading that initiative.
Yeah. It's funny because I actually, while this AMA is on, I have my Figma open with a bunch of other projects right now, and it's the big ones, right? Like just learning from all the best play to earn companies right now, and outside of it. right? So this isn't just about play to earn, and it's not about own, and this is onboarding people to a game. So all games that you've played, no matter what, have an onboarding flow. Stardew Valley, for instance, you come to the game, and there's an entire experience that is taking you to this new place, and that's kind of like that cross between speed and making an experience that has that feeling to it. Like I know, like in Apple's design and everything they do, they try to make it like have that really nice feel to it, and it's not always like the simplest way. It has simplicity in design, but we want to have narrative baked into the onboarding. So you come in, and there's basically 3 flows that need to happen. There's the MetaMask flow, so where you come and you actually connect with your wallet. That's one flow that a user needs to be funneled down. And then there's someone who comes to the site without a MetaMask wallet, but we want to take them down the tutorial to create a MetaMask wallet. So that tutorial, my goal for this company is I want to have the best tutorial that walks the most people through and converts the most people from being a non-Web3 person to a Web3 person through pixels. So the tutorial right now, the steps to create a MetaMask are intimidating to people. So my goal right here is to how do we make it less intimidating? In what ways can we do that? And for me right now, one thing we're really looking at is conversational, right? So there's visual aspects, and that you can have a conversation with an NPC character who is going to actually handhold you through a process. There's nothing scarier than going through something for the first time by yourself. So we're going to have a beautiful NPC that's going to walk people through and handhold them through that process. And then there's the continue as guest one. So if someone chooses, I don't want to set up my MetaMask, I don't own one, and I don't want to learn from you right now, those are still people that we want to allow them to get into the game, because once you come in and you start moving around, it's still our goal to convert them to have a MetaMask and to create one, and we can do that in game. But those 3 separate flows need to be done properly. And onboarding, from my experience in tech, is something that we might be tweaking and trying to get better throughout the history of this company until we get to 100% conversion of the exact user we want into the flow that we want. So right now, the highest priority is to get the MetaMask users. Then the second one is to convert the people to a MetaMask user. And then the people who continue as guest have a good experience game for them, but to restrict their abilities a little bit. So sometimes when they want something a little bit where their progress is stored, is to say, hey, you can't do that because you don't have MetaMask, but it's okay. We're going to teach you how. Here's how. And that is how we're thinking about it to get to the scale and the number of users that we want on the platform, which I can promise you is very, very high. I'm out.
It's either Tiff out or Tyler out.
I love that exit.
I know.
My own.
Okay, let me see what else we have here. Will you be able to use fiat or crypto to buy pixel coins?
Yeah, so that's kind of the point. So it should be both. That's kind of what we're leaning towards. There's really interesting stuff. We're talking in the legal right now on how we make sure we're not classified as a security, which is a whole interesting rabbit hole that you need to dig down to. Primary advice that we got was do our thing, and then we'll work with the lawyer as much as possible to make sure that we're not getting classified in that regard. But it is a goal of ours, and a lot of projects are still doing this, to make it as easy as possible to onboard into the game. And things like buying crypto for your first time, it's funny, we're all so deep into the space, it's actually not easy. It takes a couple of days sometimes to get approved to buy crypto on Coinbase, even if it's a couple $100s, which is a huge barrier to entry into a game, which we want to avoid. So there are free to play aspects that we want to put into the game, where it's okay, if you don't have any crypto, we still want you to get into the game. Then also there's other systems coming into play now that are making it easier and easier to onboard into games specifically, or other assets with credit cards, or just fiat payments as well too. So we're really interested in pursuing that. That's kind of some of the design decisions we're making around the blockchain side of things over the next couple of weeks. And that's really what we're digging into with our login system too. So we have a couple of options for how we authenticate, and we're actually rethinking the MetaMask login, if that's actually the best way that we want to do it. We might offer 2 options, a custodial option and a non-custodial option, holding assets and logging in. or we might just still make it non-custodial too. There's a lot of debates on how easy we want to make it to onboard. There's legal implications around some of them too, that we need to be thinking about as well. But yeah, that's kind of the idea, where we're also talking to coin exchanges too, by the way. Like, we're in conversations with like multiple CEXs to get listed when we drop this token. That's a huge one that a lot of these other projects who are dropping tokens probably will never get. Through the VC connections, we actually get those, and also just like generally how we're building, how we're like thinking about things too. Puts us in a better position for that too. I'm not sure if you know this, but to get listed on the CEX, you actually have to go through like a pretty rigorous process to make sure that the asset that you are listing on the CEX is not a security, including the token. And there is a lot of implications to that too, like things like how you speak about your token on Twitter, things about how you market it, things about how you show up in AMAs around your token, around your assets. Like, if you aren't speaking about it in the right way, if you market it the wrong way, if you're tweeting in the wrong way, the CEXs will see that. They won't allow those assets on an exchange. So we're pretty good on that in terms of like everything that we've been talking about. And again, gameplay coming first and foremost is the reason why. Building a good game that people want to be using, that's blockchain backed, is the reason why. So we're pretty much like a really good case to be on a CEX. And then we also have those partnerships that we're working on now to do that. And then obviously investor help when we're in this stage too. So yes, expect us to be able to exchange for a fiat through either a CEX or even like onboarding into the game through like normal payment processing. There's also things that let you offboard crypto to with just credit cards, which is interesting.
Okay, and just before I read this, one last question here. If you have any questions, please throw them in the general chat and tag the community team so we can get them queued up. Or feel free to request to come up on the Twitter space itself and chat with us. So this question is regarding roles on Discord, and someone asked if it's possible to have specific roles depending on, you know, which type of land you own. I think that's a really fun idea. So I will bring it forward to the community team and figure out if that is something that we can do. It's a fun idea. And then one other really exciting thing is a handful of team members. We will be going all down to San Diego in about less than 2 weeks, which is kind of crazy. So if any of you guys are in the area, we'd love to meet up somewhere. Haven't really figured out if, you know, maybe one evening we'll be at us in a specific neighborhood or something. But yeah, feel free to DM us, reach out. We'd love to meet more of you.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, if any of you are in San Diego, let's do that. We could definitely plan something out and about there, like at a place like that.
Okay. What was the first NPC Luke married in Stardew Valley?
You know, I've been having issues, honestly, getting NPCs to marry me. What's her name? Oh my god. I was honestly just focused on one for so long, and I just kept giving her the wrong stuff because I was just trying to play the game without looking into like the guides too much. So I was just trying to experiment with like what gifts would work or not. That was the wrong call because some of the villagers ended up really hating me. I thought I would give them good gifts, and that was not what they wanted. Here, I'm looking her up now.
Clearly, I need to play more of this game.
It's Maru. Yeah, Maru was an absolute fox.
Oh my god.
Only girl I have my eyes on.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Any other questions? Feel free to throw them in the general chat now. Doesn't look like we have any more. Luke can't even remember his wife's name. Yeah. All right. Okay. Got a couple people typing here. I feel like they're just commenting on your fox.
I mean, yeah, everybody knows that Maru's the best. My love is unwavering.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, thank you all for coming out to this maybe slightly more chaotic AMA, but we really appreciate all of your questions. We've had a blast as always. Oh, we've got one person requesting to come up. We'll sneak you in now. Hey, welcome up. Can you hear us?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
My mic was muted. So yeah,
No problem.
just before I ask my question, I just want to, thank you guys for the work you're doing. It's not really easy to, update the community regularly. That's very hard to find, and to get 1,000 daily users at this stage of development is a lot. I know so many persons won't don't realize that now, but it's awesome. So yeah, I have two questions. So the first question is concerning the token. Are there plans to introduce something like a bonding mechanism, so we don't just get tokens being supplied? So at least there should be something to take some tokens off the ecosystem. I think it's going to add some economic value. So I don't know if there are plans for this.
Yeah, that's the whole point of the systems design that we're doing too. So typically, like a game like Stardew Valley actually wouldn't translate that well in like a multiplayer game because there's no burn mechanism or there's no like game mechanic that like takes tokens out of the supply of the game. Stardew Valley is all about resource accumulation, which is great and that's really fun. But then when you're talking about a token and all the economics behind it, you actually need mechanics that get rid of tokens in the game to like create more of a balanced supply. That's not just like total accumulation. So when we're talking about system design and why we keep bringing this up and talking about why we brought on extra help for that is like that problem in particular. So that's like what our game designers are focusing on. And some of those mechanics like that, they're actually like in-game mechanics, not just bounties, but like actual things in the game that make sense in the game world. Things like, for example, like maintenance on certain like pieces of automation or things like that too. There's a lot of games that already have these concepts in place. Like Survival on Mars is one that I've been liking a lot lately. Of like going really deep into resource management and development, how they do that. It's really cool.
Yeah, awesome. One last question is, you were talking about rewards for users based on gameplay. You understand? So I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking, I've got a fairly big bag of lands I'm holding, and I really don't have time to play the game all the time. I've tried to play twice. It's really fun, and your game mechanics is awesome. I'm not gonna lie. So I was doing some comparison with Sandbox and NFT World. You get. So what these guys do, I don't think they've got the right game mechanics because the drive for people to play these games, it's as a result of tokens. They promise to give you tokens for playing the game, whereas Farmland by Pixel, you've just got a whole range of mechanics to make people actually want to play the game. So that's awesome. So the question is, for us holding a bunch of lands that can actually play for a long period of time, so are there going to be kind of like a reward for holders as to rewarding players based on the time spent on playing game?
Yeah, exactly. Great question. So part of tokenomics and what actually is like the economics part of this is all about like in economics, there's these like there's a bunch of different variables. Marginal propensity to consume is a really important variable when you're modeling out a lot of stuff, and also in the game economy, you don't just like have one marginal propensity to consume variable. It's like stratified by different types of users. But basically, what that means is like how likely is somebody holding this money in an economy likely to spend it in the economy? So
Mm.
like basically that means like who holds a token in an ecosystem is actually really important to economy. And that's kind of what tokenomics are all about, like designing incentives to like reward good behavior in an ecosystem. Now, in terms of what we are currently offering, end goal or like what we actually want in the long term is to make sure that all the land that we have is getting used in a way that's healthy for the ecosystem. But we also recognize as we're building out features and in the current state of the game, like today, right now, we don't have all those features that make it easy for you to use the land in the most effective way. So there's this like incentive here right now where like you're in a position where you can't really win if you don't have the time to utilize land and like even if you care about the ecosystem right now. So there's this recognition on that where we haven't fully offered enough features for you guys to actually use the land in like the most effective way. So we can't only be rewarding people who use land and only farm, because we haven't built out as much as we want to right now. So that's why when we're doing this initial token allocation, we keep saying we're going to do a combination of rewarding people who play the game. People who don't own land even should be able to earn tokens right now, because they're providing us a good value. But then people who are just holding right now too, who are coming to the AMAs, who are in this ecosystem right now, you guys are also providing us a good amount of value and a good amount of support through what you're doing too. So you also deserve to be rewarded in the meantime as well. So until we actually like fully build out the features that we want to build out, and that will probably be up until we release the alpha version of our game and until we release the token, we're going to reward just holding. And we're going to make sure that's a part of the allocation. But as we continue to like move along this vision, that's probably not what we want to be rewarding in the long term. In the long term, we want to make sure that we want to be rewarding people who actually like contribute to the ecosystem or find some way to do it too. So when we say that, we are looking into building features that let you rent pieces of your land or let you like have it managed out. We want to make like much better UI for that too. Basically baking in all the features that Yield Guild offers games like Axie Infinity into our product. So basically, if you're holding and you're saying, hey, I like want to get involved, but I don't have time, you're a good holder. And like that's the kind of person that we do want to reward. And we want to make that easier for you in the future as well. So we'll be building out more features around that. And then when those come, that incentive or that like reward system will probably shift a bit. But for now, just being a part of this ecosystem, caring about what we're doing and having that aligned incentive is good enough for us. And that's like plenty that we want to reward.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the swift response. Yeah, that's cool. Thanks.
Thanks for coming up. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, question. Are we able to get an idea of the highest concurrent users? So like at the same time?
I don't know if I have that right now. I mean, so
maybe something for next time.
I know average playtime per user is sitting at about like 45 minutes to an hour a day, which is actually, those numbers we're hitting are really, really good, guys. I don't want to like brag about it or like overstate it, but like for the point that we're at in this project, that much playtime and this amount of DAU is really, really good and a very good sign of what we're building. So, I mean, if you were to do that math and average that out, like if you were to distribute it all over the day, I think that's like about, let's say an hour a day divided by 24. That's probably like 300 to 400 online at the same time each day.
Awesome. Okay.
Maybe that's bad math. That's something like that. You can do math on that.
Someone is asking about if we will be attending Decentral Austin Consensus in June.
Oh, no, won't be at that one probably. We will be at NFT NYC. I think we'll be hosting. I've actually been slightly organizing something. I don't even know if I told Heidi, but I've been looking at venues and stuff like that. I think it'd be fun to do something small, maybe invite only or all of that too. I'm not sure how many farmland owners will be there, but I guess we can get a pulse on that and see if people will. I will at least be there. I'll probably get a booth bare minimum, hand out merch one day or two. I'm also speaking at NFT on NYC, if you guys didn't know that.
Yeah, that'll be really cool. Unfortunately, I personally will not be at NFT NYC or this other event you're speaking to because I'm going to Spain, which will be really fun. So anyhow, that wraps up all the questions we have. So once again, thank you all for coming out. It's been a great AMA with lots of amazing questions. And if you have any more, please tag the team, community team in the general chat, and we will get back to you. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.